Greetings, comrades. Bobcat here in the very cold Artmine studios. It's about 40 degrees in here, just barely. Too cold to do any painting or drawing or much of anything besides talk with you. Haven't had a whole lot of video stuff to show you because I'm working on things that I would really rather be better quality. And better quality takes time and money, and I don't really have a whole lot of that to spare. So I would rather give you good things than give you a lot of mediocre things. The space behind me here is finally clear because we had to get a storage unit to start moving stuff out to have space to work. It's hard to see, but this place is just full of crap, and it's hard to take measurements. It's going to be really hard to, pull down the walls, fix insulation, build the loft, the bathroom, hang ductwork, put the HVAC system in, all of that, if it is full of crap. So we had to get a storage unit to keep that crap somewhere else instead of getting rid of it for various reasons. So hooray for that. But I do have some good progress to show, and this video in particular is important to little old me because I want to inspire you, inspire some confidence in you that a lot of this stuff you really can do yourself. Now, this is not to knock professionals like me and say that we're not worth the money that we charge. We absolutely are most of the time, especially if they're licensed, bonded, insured, regulated by the state, journeymen, masters of whatever trade. They've passed their tests that show they at least have studied and trained. It is not to knock any of them. But for some things, you really can do yourself and save some money. And even if not to save you money, maybe, I'm your little old lady next door and I could use some help, but I don't have any money. Well, if you have some skills and some confidence in those skills, you can help them. That's important. This is how we take care of each other. Anyway, the gist of it is, hang on. Can you see that? I hope you can see that because I'm not taking this again. Stay. We have a new door. A brand new door. It's a door with a deadbolt and a handle. We didn't have that before. This is the first window in the art mines. This is the first source of natural light this building has ever had. And as an artist, and as someone who would rather not live in a cave, this is important. This is a big step up. Eventually we will have more windows, in fact 9 more windows put in. That's a separate thing. But this door, the contractors that will be doing the windows, the siding, and the roof, we said, hey, we need a new door here, just a basic, and I don't know how much you remember, the original door was just plain. There wasn't even this fancy stuff on it. It was just a plain steel door, but the frame was all rotten on the outside. Anyway, I said, hey, you're doing all this other stuff. How much for a new door? $3,500 for the same door, same plain front steel door. $3,500. We said, wow, that's a lot of money. Maybe we can do that ourselves. And we did. This door, I'm going to pull in the camera for some detail shots later. This door came with the frame, just already pre-hung in the frame, and we had to buy the deadbolt and the handle, and there's a storm door that will be installed after all the siding is done. There's a storm door over there. All of that, $750, and it took 3 hours to do, maybe. We ended up hauling a bunch of junk away and all that, so the whole project took about 4 hours, but the door itself was 2 hours, 3 hours. And there are 2 things you need to know about, I'm looking for the plastic thing. There are 2 things you need to know if you want to install a door yourself. We'll say 3 things. Number 1, when you buy this door frame, this is assuming you've measured everything, made nice measurements of where the door frame is going to sit and the size of the door itself, assuming you've done all that. and you've bought the door. When you bring the door home, where the knob goes in, it could be one of these two positions because there's 2 holes drilled. There's going to be a little hunk of plastic in here that will keep the door from swinging. Leave it. Leave it until you have secured this in place. Leave that plastic in there. Don't take it out. Don't mess with it. Just leave it. Because the moment this door starts to swing, it's going to be way harder to get this thing level. Leave that plastic in place, please. The other thing, number 2, you'll want shims. Shims are just little wedges of wood. They also come in plastic in a couple of different sizes, shapes, and materials. These are just basic ass wood shims. A pack of like 100 was inconsequentially cheap. I don't even remember how much it cost. It was that cheap. They're handy for all kinds of other things, but where you put the door in is probably not going to be perfectly square. So you'll want a bubble level, which of course I don't have one handy to show you, but a bubble level will show you, is the door sitting square this way? Is the door sitting square this way? And again, keeping this locked with that little bit of plastic in it. And you can just use shims to jimmy it up to the right size. And the last thing, and this is a tip that I learned from my theater construction days, pre-drill before you drive screws in. Just grab yourself whatever diameter, long screws you're going to use. These ones were just old garbage. And I hope this works. You'll want a drill bit that is just slightly thinner than the shaft of the drill, or of the screw. Not as wide as the threads, but the thing in between. So you'll pre-drill your hole and then drive the screw in. You're way less likely to strip the screw out. You'll be able to drive the screw in as far as you need it to. So those 3 things. Leave the plastic in place. Get yourself some shims to make sure it's nice and square and plumb. And then pre-drill, drive your screws in. You're going to drive one set through each hinge plate. And then as needed, I like to have one just above and below the deadbolt, and then a couple more up here. You can drive them straight in, just whatever to make this more secure. I might even want to drive in a couple more before I seal this all up on this side. One thing about driving screws in, you don't need to crank them way the hell down. Just get them just flush, just enough to hold it in place. Because if you drive them really far, you may actually warp the door frame, and then it won't swing right. See how it just hangs like that? Beautiful. There are plenty of gaps all around here that need to be filled in, and that me mentioning 40 degrees earlier, that's kind of a threshold that a lot of sealant, like this caulk stuff, it needs to be 40 or above. And some of them for, at least a day. This says a cure time of 1 to 2 weeks. So until it gets above 40 degrees at night, relatively consistently, I put some obnoxious tape on the outside that's going to get covered or removed and painted anyway. I'm going to get some foam filler rods to stuff in there and then seal all this up. But that's really it. Again, it took 3 hours to do and saved about $2,500, which is not an insignificant amount. The other thing I wanted to show you is what's going to be the new outdoor light. Since we bought the place, it's been a bare light bulb, and we're going to get all new siding. And because we're big nerds, we got this cool, we think, kind of sci-fi looking outdoor lighting fixture. So let me switch this around. This is the other cool thing. This is the new, hope you can see this all right. This is going to be the new outdoor lighting fixture. It's a square LED ring. And it didn't occur to me when we ordered this. This was maybe 75 bucks. This looks like one of those webcam light rings, but square. But I just have it temporarily wired to an extension cord or to a plug to plug in and show you. It's really bright, surprisingly bright. I don't know if it's dimmable. I think it is. I don't have a rheostat to dimmer it down. Yeah, so this will be up on the wall just outside the door, which I think is cool. As you're designing and as you're designing and building and reimagining new things for yourself or for your community, you really got to think about sustainability and cost of operation. Just like the costs of operating a motorcycle video that I put. Think about the cost of operation. How much you're going to pay for the power that goes into this, and you saw how bright that it's putting out. So I would say this is easily like 100 watt worth of light bulb light, like incandescent light bulb light. It's cool because it's an LED, like cool color temperature. But as far as power usage, this is 13 watts. And you also want to make sure it's whatever you get for outdoor lighting stuff says suitable for wet locations. I mean, you're not going to like put this on the side of a submarine, but you want it to be okay if it gets rained on, for example. So this is a nice sealed thing. Also, you might not think about why you want to change over to LEDs, LED lighting, but it's not just the fact that it is uses way less power, so way less energy, so your power costs go down, better for the environment, all that jazz. They also last way longer. A typical incandescent light bulb may have runtime measured in 1,200 hours is a number that kind of sticks in my head from when I use them all the time. But LEDs can have runtimes in the tens of thousands of hours. So let's say you turn on your light bulb for 10-20 minutes at a time, a couple of hours a day, or a couple of hours a week. You might get a few months or a year or two out of incandescent light bulb for your outdoor fixture. For an LED, some of these you can put in and never change for like 20 years worth of typical use. So that saves you time, and time is also money. So when you're thinking about new stuff, think about LEDs. And also, they come in all different shapes and sizes now. Like, comes in a fancy little square. You would never be able to find an incandescent light bulb set up like this. And they're generally pretty cool to the touch, so they're safer. But when you're planning stuff with LEDs, or when you're planning stuff and you want to think about lighting, think about LEDs because they're cool, they're incredibly versatile, and you can do a whole lot with them. So anyway, yeah. That's developments for me. I do have other videos in the works, and man, they take some time. So hope to devote to that. I'm still studying for my journeyman's test. It is tomorrow is the 1st of February. Happy February. We've survived January. Good job. I'm hoping to take my journeyman's test at the end of the month. It is $150 per test. So let's say I take it, fail it, take it again, another $150. So I hope to get it right in one. But still trying to land another job, trying to join up the union, and that's just taking some time too. And I'm terribly impatient, and it's not a virtue of mine. So I hope you are safe and well fed wherever you are. I wish you mucho, mucho amor. Remember, practice your dry firing, look out for your neighbors, and good night and good luck.